Hi everyone, Chris Small Designs here. This is part 1 of the Meng 1/35th scale T-10M tank build. So if you've been following my channel for a while, you know I've been talking about wanting to build something from Russia on my channel. And well, here it is, the Soviet T-10M. Now I chose this tank mostly for looks. You know, I know very, very little about Russian armor. And when I went to research this tank after buying it, I found even less, actually. A few pictures, a little bit of a write-up, and then some YouTube videos on the tank, mostly inbox reviews and a few builds. And that's pretty much it. So I'm kind of doing this blind. I hope when I build it, I do it justice. So going with that, I guess here we go. So I'm happy to get our friends from Russia involved now on this channel, or whoever I guess is interested in this tank. So yeah. So for aftermarket, I did order a full metal barrel, you know, that hasn't come in yet. So that's on its way. And this set right here, the lens and tail lights. So we'll implement that when the time comes. And this crew set, the 1960s to 70s. So you don't have to choose this crew set because from what I read from I believe the mid-50s to 90s this tank was in use. So you got a wide range of figures that you could potentially use. So that's encouraging. So the build itself is going so far fairly smoothly. Usually I like to dance around, if you've been following me for a while, you know, with the instruction book, you know, going all over the place, because I like to put as many parts on as I can and then paint it. And so far that is kind of the case. So with the instructions, you know, I've skipped that so far, and I went to this step here. And, you know, I've really had to pay attention. You know, you can see my writing in here. Now, it does say, if you look right here, it says A5, but it's really small because on the sprues, it says A6 and then A5 on the opposite for these pieces right here. Okay? Now, if you do mix these pieces up, it's okay because they do fit on either side. At least I found. However, except for, you know, the G33, right? So obviously A and G are on opposite sprues or different sprues, so it doesn't matter. But because some people like see these pieces and they just, you know, throw them all in one little cup and then they just put them on, you know, whatever. You can't do that in this case. So if you see G33 and you're putting it on, put it on as you cut it off the sprue. Now I did find as you take them, you know, these pieces off the sprue, there's a bit of sanding and smoothing and stuff needed to be done. So there is a bit of flash and stuff that you're going to have to work with per piece. So, you know, take that into consideration. But it does end up, you know, going on fairly nice, at least I found. So once all those are on, you know, you're moving along fine. You know, these little pieces like right here, you know, that goes on, you know, fairly decently. Except when you come to here, this is where you got to pay attention. Like, these do go on fairly nice. Now, I did say ×4, and the reason why I say ×4 is because if you look closely on the instructions, see, right here it says to build it, and then you attach it. Now, they do give you arrows, right? Say, okay, you put that there, and then there's some on the opposite side, if you look here and here. But if you look on the instructions, see that little piece right there? The instructions, there's none there, right? However, I mean, if you're just looking at it at a glance, perhaps you think, okay, I put one there, this piece right here, and then there's none on the other side, you know, there's none here, none here, none here, but there's one there. So that might lead someone to believe that there's only one. No, you have to put that piece, which they show you right here. See how you have to build it right here. There's just 4 of them, so I put the 4 there, ×4, in which you're building that. Hopefully that made sense. Now, there's no glue needed, so this clicks into there, and then that pushes through here. Now, this piece right there, when you push it through that hole, I had to make that hole on the opposite side here just a little bit bigger to push that through. Not too much, because you want to hear that little click. Otherwise, if you try to push that through without making the hole on that side a little bit bigger, you're probably going to break that off. So anyway, I made that hole just a little bit bigger just to hear that click. That way that piece here was a bit free moving, right? So once it came time to put this piece through, which I'll show you on the opposite side here. Once this obviously went right through, and then see, on this side it shows you all of them now. But so I guess when it comes to the next page, you'll figure it out. Like, oh, I should have made 4 of those. Those pieces I showed you, these right here, they'll be free to swing, right? And then that here will click, and then you'll be good to go. So there's no glue needed, and then the only glue is here. I only glued them here. So now these have a lot of spring to them now. And this, if you look, have a lot of movement to them. So when it comes to time to put tracks on, see the movement we got there? So that's going to come in really handy. So there's a lot of spring to these now. So only glue is there. And then of course you put, you know, these pieces on, things like that, as the instructions show. And you're making those. So that's fairly simple. So that's pretty much it for that. And then the only other things I kind of went ahead on, like it shows to make, you know, to put these pieces on this panel here. But I went ahead and just put that panel on first, because it says to, you know, put these pieces on before like the panel. This panel, I'm just going to call this a panel. But I put the panel on beforehand, and then I started putting all these little pieces on, because I don't want to try and push this panel on, you know, this frame with all these little pieces sticking up, because those little pieces are pretty brittle. So I put the panel on, then I started putting all these pieces on. See, it's all glued on there now, because I'm not going to have all these little pieces sticking up and then me trying to hold this down and you know, adhere it. So that's just one technique you can use. And then obviously I'm starting to glue on, you know, this piece here. So that's where I'm at right now. I'm just starting to glue on, you know, the bigger pieces and, you know, things like that. So when I take it to the paint shop, all those are on. That way it's going to hide any of the glue marks, things like that. That's pretty much where we're at with this, is just getting on these little, you know, these little pieces on. And then, you know, obviously these, I would assume they're fuel tanks. I'm not too sure. What does it say here? Yep, fuel drum. Things like that. I might have to paint these separate. Otherwise, if I try and glue these on when they're on there, I won't get the paint underneath. Things like that. As far as this here is concerned, I think I'll have to paint this and then do the road wheels separate, and paint the road wheels on. Paint the road wheels separate and then place them on. So this might be ready for the paint shop pretty quick. The overall texture is very nice. I'm finding with like the smaller pieces like these and stuff, to get them off the sprue, you're going to have to be very, very, very gentle. The plastic itself is thick, but getting them off the sprues, like the attachment point to the pieces, I'll show you here. Like, it's very thick. So the pieces are brittle, but the attachment is thick, if that makes sense, right? So you're going to have to take your time getting them off the sprue. So anyway, that's where we're at with the T10. Hopefully this video made sense. It's just going to take a lot of time, a lot of patience, and you know, some thinking ahead. But so far it's a lot of fun. So we'll see where we go with this, but it's coming along. So thanks so much for watching. Hopefully this video made sense. Sometimes I get a little ahead of myself with, I know what I want to say, but yeah. So thanks so much for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I look forward to your comments.